Your Excellency, I'm Brian Itenya, MCA Kibra.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, DG Nairobi County, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Davidson Dienjingi Bwini. I'm the MCA for Woodley Kenyatta Golf Course Ward in Kibra constituency.
Sospita Mombi, representing Roysambo Ward. Thank you.
Robert Mbatia, Kariobangi South Uhuru in Embakasi West.
Hashim Kamau, MCA California Ward, Kamkunji constituency.
I'm Martin Bugwa, MCA Mutwini Ward.
Virginia Kangede, special elect from Langata.
I'm Said Karani, MCA Utawara.
Representing the great people of Githurai Ward, I'm Dionysius Mwangi Waithira.
Wandai Ichongwa, special elect.
Chege Maura, Ngara in Starehe constituency.
Paul Ndungu, Pumwane Gikomba, Kamkunji constituency.
Paul Washira Kariuki, Kayole North Ward.
Grace Mutumishi, MCA Komarok Ward, Embakasi Central. Thank you.
Your Excellency, all protocols observed. My name is Jeremiah the Mendu Mofire, MCA Kayole Central Ward.
Nomo Joseph Karanja, MCA Kiamaiko Ward.
Francis Kemondo, MCA Kwajenga.
Good morning, Sam Kago, representing the people of Mwiki in Kasarani constituency.
Clement Kamaru from Kawest Ward.
Alan Mainagaduku, MCA Dadorawan.
Your Excellency, Patrick Masharia, Maringo Bahati Ward, Makadara constituency.
Eric Kiogora from Liluta Ward, Dagoretti South.
Paul Madhu, Dandora 3, Embakasi North.
Martin Waithaka Wairobi, representing the great people of Mole Ward in Embakasi West. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mark Tiga, elected member Hospital Ward in Mathare constituency.
Simon Maina, Randemoya Ward, Starehe constituency.
Thank you, Your Excellency. That's the leadership of Nairobi County that is here present, and I think without further ado, then I'll pass it back to the MCA, the MC, sorry.
Thank you, Excellency Deputy Governor. Your Excellency, sir, wakati huu ningeomba kumuita mkuu wa wafanyikazi katika ofisi yako, Madam Wanjiko Wagogi, kutuongoza kwa awamu hii inayofuata. Welcome, Chief of Staff.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Honorable Brigadier Gachagua, the Cabinet Secretary is present, our Principal Secretary is present, the CEOs of all the critical agencies in the water and environment sector, Deputy Governor Nairobi, and the entire political leadership from the National Assembly, as well as Senate and County Assembly of Nairobi. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Mine is a very simple task, which is to invite you and welcome you to this meeting and to request our engagement. Thank you for braving the early morning rain and making it here for this important deliberation. My task is a very simple one, which is to first invite our Chair Lady of the Nairobi River Commission to greet us all and give some very brief remarks, and thereafter invite His Excellency to make his remarks. Karibu sana.
His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Brigadier Gachagua, all the CSs here present, all the permanent secretaries present, all government organizations, the political representatives, and all stakeholders, good morning. I'm here to be part of the sensitization that is going to enhance the transformation, the socio-economic transformation of our communities, as included. The problem that we are experiencing today, that is flooding, is part of the impacts of human activities through pollution of our environment. We have run away from nature-based solutions. But I think I want to confirm that this offers an opportunity for us as stakeholders to leave a legacy. God has given us this space to leave a legacy through the river basin regeneration. Why do I say so? The Kenya Kwanza government has prioritized some pillars for the transformation of the economy of this country. We are aware of the fourth medium-term plan and the pillars that it has. I can confirm that the river basin has offered us that opportunity to transform the lives of the people who live along the river. If we think of the dignified life of the people who live along the river basin and start thinking positively, sustainably, how do we stop pollution? If we integrate the measures of pollution with the social and affordable housing within the river basin, we can actually change lives and leave a legacy that will be remembered. So one of the aspects we are following in the river regeneration with the stakeholders is to integrate the social affordable housing with the pollution measures that is coming from our communities, that is coming from the industrial effluence, and many other aspects for a dignified life. If we look at the agriculture, which is also a pillar, and know the acreage, that is over 390 kilometers of the river basin, and we know that we have our people that are farming in upstream and lower stream, and transform that using modern agriculture, we can have our people transform their lives through the participation of produce in food security. The river basin is offering us an opportunity to integrate the digital superhighway. We can imagine an area around Kempinski, around Boulevard, around Michuki Park, around National Museums of Kenya, and package that for tourism and use that as a river frontage where we can sit, enjoy our drinks with super internet connectivity. We will have changed several lives. We would have created jobs and work for several people in this country. So mine is just to sensitize you that it is not all lost. We have an opportunity to regenerate the river and also deliver for the Kenya Kwanza government. The river basin, as you look at, is a public health issue. Everybody is dumping there. So the Ministry of Health has a big role to play in the integration and in the regeneration of the river. People are throwing syringes in the river. We do not know what these people use those syringes for. Maybe they use them to inject themselves. We have hospitals, we have institutions that are dumping medical liquids, medical equipments into this river. So what I'm trying to say is that all of us need to come together, and that is the purpose of this meeting today, so that we can have this as a national discourse, not just an issue of Nairobi. The Nairobi County has no business polluting the river that is traversing Machakos, Makueni. We know that a big dam is being built in Twake Dam in Makueni. What is the impact of our activities in Nairobi as a county? It is disastrous. So I'm just confirming that we all need to come together. But fundamentally, in the waste environment, a lot of people are employed at the moment in the recycling industry, in the circular economy. That is an area we can focus on as a country, as a nation. There are CBOs, there are small-scale enterprises that, if supported, can participate actively in this economy. They make very good materials from waste If as a government we help these people to look for export markets, we'll increase our foreign exchange. We are going to get more people into employment. We are going to increase the tax base so that our taxes go down. We are going to have everybody, that is inclusive growth. So I want us to take pride that our activities that we are going to do jointly is going to support the pillars of this government in transforming the economy. His Excellency, I want to assure you that the team that is here, our stakeholders, have developed our action plan. And out of that action plan is where the recovery strategy has been emanated from. And the recovery strategy of the river generation is what is going to be presented to you today. Some of you, especially the political class, are going to interact with this for the first time. We ask for forgiveness, and that is why His Excellency invited all of you here, so that we can start walking the journey together. This is the phase of implementation, and His Excellency, if you allow me, we give this opportunity to the CEO of Nairobi Rivers Commission to take us through the river regeneration strategy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give another clap to Dr. Olet. Your Excellency, as has been indicated, the purpose of our engagement is to go through the framework for the regeneration of the Nairobi rivers. This consultative process has begun with Nairobi County, but will be extended to all the other affiliate counties that are adjacent thereto, because the Nairobi rivers has an impact, as Dr. Olet has indicated, to the downstream counties that are also reliant on its waters. So our initiative today is to seek support, is to seek partnership, and to seek all mechanisms of engagement that will allow us to deliver on this aspiration together. So we will then be looking forward to another engagement, bringing together the other counties as part of a joint effort between national and county government to deliver on this aspiration. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, I request us to now all be upstanding as we welcome His Excellency to make his remarks. Please give a round of applause.
Thank you. Please be seated. The Cabinet Secretary is present. Our Principal Secretary is present. The Deputy Governor of Nairobi. The women representative for Nairobi, other members of Parliament present. The honorable members of the County Assembly. The Chairperson of the Nairobi Rivers Commission, plus all the commissioners. Senior government officials present, partners, distinguished guests. I welcome you to this important consultation meeting on restoring the Nairobi rivers. We converge here this morning when most parts of our country are receiving enhanced rains. While the rains are good for production and food security, the negative impact of flash floods has been devastating. Houses have collapsed and washed away. Livelihoods have been destroyed. Nairobi, the city under the sun, has not been spared. Several estates are flooded as the limited drainage infrastructure is overstretched. It is even worse in areas where there is no infrastructure. Lives have been turned upside down. This calls for joint action to avert further negative impacts and establish and foster structures for sustainable containment of such episodes in Nairobi and restore its glory. This is in line with the mandate of the Nairobi Rivers Commission, which President William Ruto established in December 2022 and placed under my office. It covers the counties of Nairobi, Kiambu, Kajiado, Machakos, and Makueni. The ultimate goal of the Commission is to reclaim the rivers of Nairobi into the blue and green socio-economic resources for improved quality of life. This requires joint action from everyone. The Commission has been working closely with the ministries, departments, agencies, and other stakeholders, including the communities. This meeting has therefore been convened to update stakeholders, consolidate and renew our commitment to delivering a clean Nairobi Rivers basin in the city and the counties downstream. It is very important and urgent because Nairobi is the door to Kenya and Africa. Pollution and other forms of degradation of the Nairobi rivers are a threat to the existence of our people, not only in Nairobi and its environs, but also across the country. We take pride in Nairobi as the top investment destination in Africa and globally. When the rivers are choking in pollution, a high health hazard to our people. Long-term benefits to the nation must not be shortchanged with the selfish gains to few individuals. That is why we must be resolute in our decisions. We have a responsibility of making the right decision in the interest of the people. Key among other issues, the Nairobi Rivers regeneration will involve relocation from the riparian and adjacent areas. I'm informed that the communities living along the three rivers are ready to move. The issue at hand is dealing with those claiming to own the properties on the riparian areas. Through coordination of the Commission, the communities along the rivers, Gong, Nairobi, and Mathare, have been mapped and segmented into 18 zones. Claiming the riparian areas will pave the way for programs of transforming the rivers through a multi-agency approach. The role of the national and county governments will be key in the success of this mission, as will be demonstrated by presentation from the Ministry of Defense. It is encouraging that these communities and other stakeholders are ready to reinforce the work of government in this initiative. We also want to connect the affordable housing program with the Rivers Regeneration Plan. I take this opportunity to thank the various agencies which have contributed to the cleaning and rehabilitation of the rivers since the El Nino period last year. I want to single out the Environment and Land Court in Nairobi, which will partner with the Commission in tree planting and taking part in an open day with the communities along Nairobi River at Korogosho tomorrow. We invite other partners to work with the Commission. As we start this engagement, there's no turning back. Let us contribute ideas for a better Nairobi for our people today and the future. Let me say that I want to thank the leaders who are here from Nairobi. The modus operandi of the Ruto administration is continuous engagement with the people of Kenya, and more so elected leaders. Our administration has tremendous respect for leaders who have been elected to serve the people, because they represent the wishes and the aspirations of those who have elected them. It is not possible for us to succeed in this program without the participation and support of elected leaders, because most of those people who will be affected are their voters, and they are the people that they represent either in the county assembly or in the National Assembly. We therefore decided to invite the leadership here of the National Assembly and the County Assembly so that you can be taken through the regeneration plan, and you can ask questions and you can make contributions. Please feel free to do so. And I want to say, for avoidance of doubt, elections are over. What we have now are elected leaders, irrespective of which part of the political formation they come from. And that is why we invited everybody. And I'm very grateful to those who have been able to come. Some have given apologies. But I was told a section of the county assembly from one side of the coalition said that they needed a neutral venue. For the purposes of being very explicit, the Office of the Deputy President has the role of coordinating intergovernmental relations. So when we invite you here, this is your office, because intergovernmental relations are done from here. All governors in Kenya, those in Kenya Kwanza and Azimio, are frequent visitors to this residence where we discuss the division of revenue bill, where we discuss emergency coordination. They come here so that we discuss. So I think the county assembly, the Azimio part, the Azimio section is a bit misguided, that there could be a neutral venue to discuss anything. Anything to do with the intergovernmental relations will be discussed in this residence. And they are always welcome here, because if they don't, decisions will be made that affect their people. What will they tell the people? These are very important decisions. And if they allow myopic politics to come into the way of service delivery, the people who have elected them will be the losers. Because people need to be informed on what is going on. And they can only inform the people when they attend meetings so that they understand what is going on. And they must learn from their seniors, the governors. They are here, they are always here, and we have made many decisions that are very beneficial to the counties and to the people of Kenya. I therefore want to appeal to our leaders to know that our elections are over. We don't have this side and that side. We have leaders serving the people of Kenya. And any time there is an important program, we invite them to come so that we reason together and we discuss together. I would have been very happy if they were here so that they hear what we have to say. And they can also take part in the deliberations. And they can also express what they think can be done to make the lives of our people better. They can give their input on this regeneration, what they think would be the best way to go about it. But when they keep away because of politics, they have lost it. These Nairobi rivers have nothing to do with the politics. These rivers, when they overflow and they sweep people, they don't choose which part of the political divide they come from. They carry anybody near the river. This pollution of Nairobi River, it affects everybody, irrespective of which side you belong. So we want to ask our people to know that elections are over, the politics of division is over. What we have to do for the next 3 years, 3.5 years, is to serve the people. Then at the right and option time, they'll go back to the people for elections again. But this is a time to work. So I want to thank those who have come, the MPs and everybody, and the MCAs who are here. I'm very happy. I've seen Robert alive for the first time. I've always seen you. You have been very lethal online. But of late you have toned down. You know, and I'm happy that you are here so that you can use your online prowess to educate the people of Nairobi about the regeneration plan, on how. But if you stayed away, Mheshimiwa Allah, you will not know. So it's good, and I want you to participate. Ask questions so that you can educate the people, because you have a large following. Let the people know what is being done. And this has nothing to do with the Kenya Kwanza administration. It has nothing to do with President William Ruto or me. This is about the people of Nairobi. And I want to say we are also stakeholders because we live in this city. As we live in this city, and this is a seat of government. We have offices for the UN. This city is very important to the people of Kenya and to all of us. And we have a responsibility to make sure that we clean the Nairobi rivers and create an environmentally friendly atmosphere in this city, which is the financial hub center of East and Central Africa. We want the green city in the sun to come back, and we want all of us to work together. So all of you are welcome. Please feel free, participate fully, give your views after you listen to the presentation, and I'm sure our people who are working on it will listen to you and they will take into consideration what your views are. That is the way you build a society, by engaging, by listening to everybody. President William Ruto is on record saying, and rightly so, a good idea must give room to a better idea. A better idea ultimately will give room to the best idea. But that can only be done when people engage, when people talk to each other, when people consult. You only consult if you are available in the forum. If you are not available in the forum, then you deny yourself the opportunity to consult and to be listened to and to give you ideas and to give you a contribution on behalf of the people that you represent. And the people you represent expect you to be in every forum, listening to the issues that concern them, giving solutions to interventions that will serve them better. That is the hallmark of good leadership. So asante sana, karibuni sana. I look forward to a very, very robust engagement. Let ideas flow. Let us give contribution. And I'm sure at the end of the day, we'll come up with a good plan for the people of Nairobi and for our rivers here that have been an eyesore for a very long time. So asanteni sana na karibuni sana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Let's appreciate him with another round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, may we be seated. Your Excellency, at this juncture, I wish to invite Brigadier Joseph Murashia, who is the CEO of the Nairobi River Commission, to give his presentation on the Nairobi Rivers Regeneration Concept and the National
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Cabinet Secretaries present, all protocols observed. Good morning. Once again, my name is Brigadier Murashia, the Chief Executive Officer, Nairobi Rivers Commission. Your Excellency, sir, today I stand here a very happy man, because the reason why the commission was created was to try and make sure that we bring all stakeholders together towards a common problem, discuss it and give a common solution. I'm happy to say that at our level we have been doing this, but on my request, on the request of the Commission, you accepted to convene the top leadership so that we can update them on where we are, so that we can also get their views and their support towards this important national assignment. To start my presentation, I will want us to understand the problem we are facing, and to do this, I will start with a short video which will give us the state of our rivers. We are talking about the rivers of Nairobi, Mathare, and Gong with their tributaries, because within the 5 counties that Your Excellency you mentioned, that is where Kiambu, Kajiado is where the rivers originate from, pass through Nairobi, then flow downstream through Machakos and Makueni.
Nairobi is a unique location for a city perched high on the highlands of the Rift Valley. The global environment capital and 10th highest capital city in the world has highland forests and wetlands that give rise to a multitude of rivers and streams. Of these rivers that flow across the city, 3 are centrally located and make up what is referred to as the Nairobi River Basin: Gong River, Mathare River, and Nairobi River. We'll travel across the city following these 3 rivers and highlighting their path and the environmental challenges they face. Gong River is reputed to be Kenya's most polluted river. It rises from a spring near Ngong Road and flows east towards Kibera. The river is dammed at the Jamhuri Park Dam to provide water, as it is largely unpolluted at this point. The second tributary, Motoine River, springs from the extensive forests near Dagoretti and flows parallel to the southern bypass into the Ngong Road forest and onwards towards Kibera. The 2 rivers confluence outside Kibera informal settlements and flow into the Kibera Valley as Ngong River. Ngong River experiences its first ecological challenge in the informal settlement as untreated sewage and human waste is dumped into the flowing river. The effects of pollution are soon evident as Nairobi Dam chokes in the hyacinth of Ngong River's polluted waters. Nairobi Dam was once a primary source of water for the capital. The dam also hosted a sailing club and was a popular recreational spot in the post-colonial decades. Ngong River flows out of Nairobi Dam as filthy black water before crossing Mbagathi Way towards Langata Road. The river flows under Langata Road across Nairobi West and South Sea before crossing Mombasa Road towards South B, where it encounters further pollution. In this midsection of Ngong River, the mix of industrial and human pollution choked the river. The industrial area, Kenya's premier manufacturing hub, is located on the banks of Ngong River. The establishment of the industrial zone in this location was partly influenced by the availability of fresh water from the river. Mukuru informal settlements line the river banks adjacent to the industrial area and form the bulk of the landscape along Ngong River between South B and Outer Ring Road. The industries and informal settlements both pollute the river as they discard industrial and human waste to flow downstream. By the time Ngong River approaches Outer Ring Road, it is reputed to be the most polluted river in Kenya. The river crosses Outer Ring Road near Donholm and flows east past Kayole and the Soweto informal settlements, where more pollution from human waste is dumped into the river. The polluted Ngong River finally joins Nairobi River in Jiru Town, ending its journey across the city. The story of Mathare River is a story of contrasts. The river shows the socio-economic divide in Nairobi as it flows along a deep, wide valley in the central part of the city. Like the case of the other rivers in the Nairobi River Basin, Mathare River springs out of the ground in the highlands west of Nairobi and flows south of Limuru before it is dammed at Kabete Dam. Kabete Dam offers a recreational site and acts as a source of water. The river pours out of Kabete Dam and silently snakes beneath a green canopy through the green suburbs of Lower Kabete, Loresho, Spring Valley, and Muthaiga. As it approaches Thika Road near Pangani, Mathare River is joined by the first of its tributaries, the Kibagare River, which flows from Kangemi through Westlands and Parklands. The second half of Mathare River sees a change in the face of the river as the deep, wide valley changes from a tree-filled profile to dense settlements. Tall apartment blocks line the short Pangani section before the river flows into the Mathare informal settlement. This section of Mathare Valley is flanked by Juja Road and Thika Road on either side. Between them lies a V-shaped valley where Mathare River flows. A peculiar feature of Nairobi's informal settlements is their existence in deep river valleys where they are not easily visible when traveling across the city. Mathare River faces significant pollution in this section. Untreated sewage and human waste is dumped into the river, which provides an easy discharge route in a place devoid of planned infrastructure. The second tributary, Getadhuru River, flows from Limuru through Kitusuru, where it lends its name to the estate, before snaking through Sigiria Karura Forest and Muthaiga Golf Club to join Mathare River behind Utalii College. Farming is undertaken along Getadhuru Valley between Thika Road and Utalii College, as the river has not encountered significant pollution at this stage. The rivers then confluence and flow towards Outer Ring Road, past Kariobangi North to Lakisama, where Mathare River ends its journey by joining Nairobi River. The Dandora Dam site and Dandora Falls are found near the confluence of Nairobi and Mathare River. From the largest tropical swamp in Africa, Ondiri Swamp, located outside Kikuyu town. At this nascent stage, Nairobi River flows through Kikuyu, Udhiru, Kangemi, and Kawangware, where it is joined by several other small streams. The high-density population of the upstream section of Nairobi River is in contrast to Ngong and Mathare rivers and presents the challenge of pollution right from the outset. Nairobi River continues its flow through Mudangari, past James Gishuru Road, Westlands, and Riverside towards Chiromo, where it is joined by Kericho River. At Mishuki Park, the potential of a rehabilitated Nairobi River becomes evident. The cleanup and reforesting of Mishuki Park has turned what was once an illegal dump site into a green haven within Nairobi's central business district. Shaded walking paths by the river under an endless canopy gives a glimpse of a potential non-motorized walkways along Nairobi's rivers. Beyond the CBD, Nairobi River continues its eastward flow, passing through Ngara, Karioko, Gikomba, Majengo, and Shauri Moyo. Unplanned developments such as unofficial markets and informal settlements have cropped up along this midstream section of the river valley. Nairobi River continues its journey through neighborhoods in Eastlands. The river flows south of the Kenya Air Force Base in Eastleigh, separating the military airport from Shauri Moyo, Kimathi, and Buruburu estates. Beyond Outer Ring Road, Nairobi River flows past Kariobangi South towards Dandora, where it is joined by Mathare River. Nairobi River then flows near Dandora Dam site, where the threat of pollution intensifies. A few meters from the confluence of Nairobi and Mathare River is the Dandora Falls. The lost recreational value of the Dandora Falls is immediately obvious. Even with the stench from the black river water, the beauty of Dandora Falls is evident. The falls are not the only lost heritage in this section. Buried under the pollution is the heritage of urban colonial resistance. This location was the site of the Battle of Dandora Swamp, where Mau Mau soldiers put up a spirited fight against British colonialists in October 1954. Beyond Dandora, Nairobi River is joined by Ruaka River and Ngong River at Njiru. In Ruai, treated sewage from the Nairobi Sewage Treatment Works is released to Nairobi River before the river dramatically tumbles down the scenic Ruai Falls. As it approaches the end of its journey, Nairobi River meanders its way and flows into Athi River. The rivers of Nairobi form part of the Athi River basin that drains the eastern escarpment of the Rift Valley. Athi River crashes down the 14 falls near Mount Kilimambogo, then flows round the mountain through the heartland of southeastern Kenya. Flowing adjacent to Yatta Plateau for over 250 kilometers, farms line up either side of the river valley where fruits and vegetables are grown in bulk. Each drop of water from the polluted rivers of Nairobi River Basin ultimately finds its way into Athi River, and this filthy water is used to run these farms. In a twist of fate, the food grown along the river ultimately finds its way back to Nairobi, causing health complications for the residents of the city. The health crisis is also keenly felt along the Athi River Valley. The pollution of Athi River has also affected development projects like the Thwake Dam, as observed by the Auditor General. Rehabilitation and cleaning of the rivers of Nairobi will ensure the 82 billion shilling project is viable and guarantee water provision from the dam. At Savo, Athi River is joined by Savo River flowing from Mount Kilimanjaro. The river then flows through Savo East, finally draining its waters into the Indian Ocean outside Malindi. With the river path that flows centrally across a major metropolis, the urban challenges of housing, planning, and waste disposal converge to present an ecological challenge to a river basin that holds so much promise and once served as the city's primary source of fresh water. The formation of the Nairobi Rivers Commission was a first step in the right direction towards rehabilitating the river basin after which the city is named. The Commission has undertaken a zoning exercise in conjunction with riverine communities and divided the rivers into several zones from where the cleanup efforts will be coordinated. Satellite offices stationed in each of these zones will host multi-agency teams involved in the cleanup effort and serve as coordination points for the Commission's work. Riparian mapping undertaken by the Nairobi River Commission is of critical importance to the success of the rehabilitation work, as it helps identify encroachment and pollution zones. The Nairobi River Basin has the distinction of being a river basin that rises and flows within a metropolis. Recognition of the unique nature of this ecological challenge is central to the work that the Nairobi Rivers Commission is undertaking. Rehabilitation of the Nairobi River Basin will offer great benefits to the residents of Nairobi and Athi River Basin and return this waterway into the natural treasure it once was.
Your Excellency, stakeholders, I hope we now understand the magnitude of a problem we are dealing with, and that is exactly how it is. This video was taken in November last year. It is very current. We had to hire an aircraft to come up with that presentation. Nairobi Rivers Commission, as was introduced, was established on 22nd of December 2022. And the main mandate was to reclaim the rivers of Nairobi as a spine to the broad and green infrastructure for a better urban environment and quality of life. To be able to do this, the main role of the commission, as I said, is to coordinate the activities of the various players. And I'm happy, Your Excellency, to say what we have done today is evidence of the coordination element that we are talking about, and that's why we have been able to bring the stakeholders here. I want to say that whatever we have been doing is aligned to the SDGs, specifically number 6, and the Bill of Rights, which is in the Constitution, especially on human dignity. Our people along the rivers should live with dignity. The aim of my presentation, therefore, is to appraise you as stakeholders from the senior government position and our legislators on the progress that we have made so far, where we are and where we plan to go, and thereafter seek your views on how you should support the Commission to be able to achieve the government's vision. I will also be able to seek your support to the generation efforts that we are doing. The way I intend to do this, I will summarize the achievements that we have had, make some recommendations, look at the current issues that are there to be addressed, the proposed projects that we intend to undertake, make some recommendations based on your intervention, and thereafter we'll be seeking guidance. In summary, through the engagement or coordination of the Commission, we brought all the stakeholders together from last year, May, June, and we were able to come up with a document that we were calling the Nairobi Rivers Recovery Strategy Action Plan. This document was validated by the stakeholders. 49 institutions attended, 180 participants from different institutions, and this was on September 1st at Windsor Hotel. So I'm presenting on behalf of stakeholders. This document has short-term, medium-term, and long-term strategies to address the problem in the river and focuses on 10 thematic areas. The first thematic area is on catchment protection and reclamation. We have to protect our catchment areas. We have to reclaim it if we want our rivers to flow the way they should. The second one is the riparian mapping. We know the river flows on the valleys, but we have riparian that is supposed to be there. Our people occupy the riparian land. It is not their wish. We need to know how to do with that, but we have to reclaim the land because the rivers should have their own course. That is why we are having the same problem today of floods carrying away people. We have a problem with two rivers as a thematic area, and this is categorized into solid waste, sewerage, industrial, and institutional. Our chairperson mentioned about the institutions, the industries, and all those that actually pollute the river with their wastes. There's the issue of drainage and hydrology, because if you look at Nairobi the way it is all cabro, it is all tarmac. So when we get the rains today we are crying of floods, tomorrow we will be looking for water because we have allowed all the water to go to the Indian Ocean. There is no recharge system because all our ground is hard service. We are talking about people and social, and this is very important. From our literature review, from our findings, we have realized that the previous efforts have not involved the riverine communities. Our people have not been involved. And therefore, we have spent a lot of time talking to the communities, speaking with them, getting their views and their recommendations, and therefore, this is very important thematic area. Land use, how do we use our land? Yes, in the upstream, we are doing farming, but what chemicals do we use? Downstream, around CBD, how do we use the land there? Yes, our people have garages, they have shops, but eventually, the product, the waste product of what we do, our daily activities, where do we dispose it to? The nearest place is the river. So we have to deal with that. Technical science and research, very important because we have to get proficient people to be able to guide us, do research on how things have been done before so that we can benchmark. Publicity and communication, this is what we want to achieve today. We want everybody in Kenya to know that we have a problem that we must address as a nation. We have to resource mobilize. This is one of my objectives today. At the end of my presentation, we will be requesting you not to give to the commission, but please to contribute some resources towards this national effort because it is our problem, all of us. And then as we do this, we have to do monitoring and evaluation. And at the end of my presentation, I will be inviting my colleague who will take us through a multi-agency operations doctrine because we have to monitor what we are doing. We cannot just do things without knowing whether we are achieving or not. The current issues that we have on the ground, Your Excellency, one of them is that we have no planning for urban construction, public services, and management. Look at the way we are. That is Nairobi Dam. This is an estate. You cannot move. When there is fire, you cannot move. When there is emergency, you cannot do something to save the people. So it's already a problem. We have the problem of solid waste. Every day, and I say this, today everybody has a bottle of water in front. You have a paper. I am not sure whether that paper or bottle will end up eventually. But if it is not taken care of, the person who is supposed to correct it will correct it and put it somewhere. Then another one will pick it and put it in somewhere else, and eventually it will be disposed into the environment. And then naturally when the rain comes, the rain will help us to take it to the river, because all the water will carry anything that will be available along the watercourse. Currently, Your Excellency, we have this problem. This morning I had a problem coming from Thika. Everywhere is flooded. Rivers are flooded. The trenches, all the waterways are flooded, and some of these we can look at the way to address it. Serious pollution, institutional, industrial, sewage. Another question to everybody here. We came from our homes. You have a tap in your house. You have a washroom in your house. Please go and find out, when you flush your toilet, where does that waste eventually go? Everybody individually. Because eventually, if you are not careful, you will find it in the water. If it did not go through the sewerage system, the trunk sewer line, it will be carried by an exhauster, and the exhauster will most likely drop it somewhere because he doesn't want to travel far. Because the only treatment pod we have is in Ruai, which is very far from Nairobi. The issue of people, social and people, I talked about it, community engagement. What do people have to say? What plans do they have? What are they proposing? This has been very important. We employ them when we get opportunities. We make sure we invite them during our discussions. We make sure that when we are doing the mapping and the zonings, themselves they do it. It is not us who did it. We just gave guidelines. I told them, sit down, please tell us how we are going to do about this. And they did it themselves. And we interact with them. Your Excellency, anytime I want to go to Dadora Falls, I don't need security. I just call the team leader there. See you anakuja kuona Dadora Falls. They tell me kuja. And I climb up to the top na kuteremuka. We may be viewing them as bad people, but that is how strong engaging the people is. The summary of what we are recommending as stakeholders, and this is what I am presenting, is that we must remove all the solid waste from the rivers. We must protect our riverbanks. We must have a water management plan within Nairobi. We must work on water quality improvement, solid waste management, intercept our sewage, ecological restoration, serious community engagement, and then undertake well-designed catalytic projects, as I will give an example in a short while. We must continuously unclog the rivers. Since the onset of El Nino, I remember, Your Excellency, you invited the stakeholders here, and I made a request that I needed some equipment to unclog the rivers. I'm happy to report that through the Ministry of Defense, the National Youth Service, I got those equipments, and I can tell you even today I have those equipments, and that's why during El Nino we did not have very serious effects of the water in the rivers. We will be doing free bucket dams in the upper streams to try and intercept the sewage. We will do water treatment plants. We want to do embankment reinforcing within our rivers. We want to do river training and reshaping and intercept the sewer network, and at the same time do vegetation restoration. We have to do construct wetlands because through the nature-based solution, wetlands are able to clean the water as it flows down. We want to do waterfront parks. We want to do street lighting along the rivers so that our people can walk along the rivers at night. We want to do roadscaping along the rivers. We want to do bridges across the rivers so that our people can easily move from one side of the river to the other. We want to have cyclist lanes, walkways, community parks, as well as climate action hubs in all our zones in the rivers. That is an example of a bucket dam, a free bucket dam that we are proposing. And this will be able to tap the waters on the upstream before it flows down on the downstream. That is just an example of our sewer treatment plant. Sewer interception. I may not need to explain a lot of it. We want to reshape our rivers, do embankment, do river training, as I have explained, so that as the river flows, as the water flows from upstream down to the river, it is already clean, to enable it to flow downstream in a clean state. Vegetation restoration and landscaping. Now, very important because that was just a summary, but specifically now we want to see what we are proposing as stakeholders. Before I do that, I would want us to focus on this map. And this is a 1948 map. The orange depicts the settlement areas. The green is what should be today the green areas because it is just across or next to the rivers or the valleys. And when you interpret, the green is what is today our informal settlements. Because from that perspective in 1948, the area was left to be green, but then later on it was occupied. And that is important. We have tried to come to do some case studies to benchmark with other areas where this has happened. Just to give an example, Shagai River in Addis Ababa, and this river in Shanghai, China. I have not been there. We have done desktop studies, but part of my colleagues who have been designing this have been there. I compare that with our own local efforts, where at our village level, this is what we have been trying to do. This is what the communities have been trying to do in their own ways. And this is why the government should come on board, all the institutions should come on board so that we upgrade this. And this is why I said, Your Excellency, the communities are very willing to do this if they are given the resources and assisted. As I said, we were able to engage the communities. We invited them in our headquarters. We invited the NGOs who sponsor them, and we told them we want to come and talk to you. We gave them a direction and told them to just map the rivers and tell us how they can do it in manageable spaces. This is the result. Gong River, they divided into zones, approximately 5 kilometers of each. Nairobi River, they did the same. And Madara River, they did the same. So in total, we have 18 zones. Each zone, we know how many community groups work there, who sponsors them, what activities they do. We have all that data. And therefore, when it comes to execution, Your Excellency, it will be very easy. People on the ground are waiting to be told what to do. In our design and our proposal, we are thinking that in order to improve, we had the direction from His Excellency the President that we try to see how we can transform the rivers into the frontage of the city, so that every time you walk, you wake up, you are seeing the water in front of you. And therefore, the mapping that we had previously done helped us a lot. You can see this is a cross-section of a part of the river that has already been divided from Odire going all the way to Dadora, and I will give details of that. We have collected a lot of data while doing the riparian mapping. What you see there in blue is the landmarks, the data that we have obtained from the Ministry of Water through WRA. We have used it and tried to put it on the map so that we see how much, encroachment has been done, and we have that report. And therefore, if you look at this, it is within Nairobi. Let me just go to the next slide. And with that data, we are able to see how much can we expand the river, what can we do there. And we are saying this is zone 4 of the map that I showed you where the river has been zoned. If you look at that, that is Chilomo, round about where Nairobi and Kericho River meet, downstream through Michuki Park all the way to First Rizri Avenue. In the morning we were discussing and saying, if you want to walk from Chilomo, you walk along the river to Michuki Park, it is only 800 meters. If you walk, it will take you 15 minutes. But today, if you want to go to Michuki Park through the road with the traffic jam in Nairobi, how long do you take? We want our people to walk very easily, use that route, and then also decongest the motorable roads. In that zone 4, we want to do, which is approximately 8 kilometers, 6, we want to do constructed wetlands, non-motorized transport system, green public spaces, and then through registration, we want to see whether we want to update the existing registration and bylaws. And this is now the registrators who are here. You do that so that you pave way for the availability of the space to be implemented, for these projects to be implemented. We have gone deeper to subdivide it again into smaller sectors. From the same Chilomo, all the way, you can see Chilomo, Museum Hill, National Museum of Kenya, all that to the Kamukoji Park. And you can see what we are intending to do. We want to do bridges across so that our people can cross easily. We have subdivided that further, and I don't want to waste time on that. Sector 2, 1.3 kilometers for detailed designs. Sector 3, another sector that detailed designs are going on. Would you imagine this to be in Nairobi in the future? And would you want to see Nairobi like this? This is our vision, that in Nairobi we can achieve this if we all support this. We are trying to merge this with the affordable housing, do the houses close to the river, clean the river, the houses to face the river. It is the same way we go to Mombasa every day, kuona maji, yet we leave our waters in Nairobi. That is just another pictorial representation. Now, we have two distinct phases. We have the urban area and we have the informal settlements. The people in the informal settlements need different infrastructure, different facilities from what we require in town. They need public spaces and parks. That is what they need. We can see the integrated affordable housing. You can see those houses, social houses, and then you create a park where they can undertake some activities. This is just a pictorial representation of what we are saying. I will be able to summarize this very shortly with video. In conclusion, we are saying this, that what I have presented has been contributed by stakeholders. We want to get ideas from you because we need to improve the well-being of our people. We must give them dignity by giving them clean environment and clean water. We know there will will be an issue of relocation of people. We are very concerned about it, but I can assure you it will be seamlessly done in a very dignified manner, and nobody will complain because we have already involved them. We have already identified, or we identified alternative sources for them through the housing programs that we have. Just one or two recommendations. We have to continue doing the mapping. We are lucky the river has done some mapping for us. We just need to confirm that. The MDAs will be requesting you very seriously to contribute some resources in terms of equipment and other means. You remember I mentioned about monitoring and evaluation. We have introduced a joint multi-agency operation center. You cannot succeed in this if it is not handled at a multi-agency perspective. This is not a Ministry of Water, it is not county government, it is not Nairobi Rivers, it is everybody. So we will be recommending that we constitute a multi-agency team to be able to deal with this, and I'm telling you, once we do that, one of the problems will be solved. Then, we need to support the catalytic projects. Of course, we will be inviting your ideas, and I think at the end of the day, this summarizes how we envision Nairobi to be. I would imagine this in somewhere in Dadora. It is possible. You can see constructed wetlands. There are walkways. There are writing streets. We have trees. We have green spaces. We have bridges. It can happen. And our birds have come back to the waters. We can see we have integrated the affordable housing, where our people, urban agriculture, we want to introduce, where we can have tree seedlings. We are supposed to support the president's vision of the 15 billion trees. We have tree seedlings. We have small urban farming, small gardens. We have parks for the community where they can relax. Riparian parks, where we have our people in the informal settlements, they need spaces where they can exercise, where they can walk. When you have visitors, you pitch a tent. After that, the area remains good. We'll have children playing areas. You don't need to come to Uhuru Park or Uhuru Gardens to be able to take your people or your children to relax. We can introduce all things within the areas. The only thing we need is a space, and the space is there. We only need your support. And we have been assured that once RAD is available, even if it is tomorrow, the government has money to implement this. You can see these are tree seedlings. We have social and economic centers where people can carry out activities, where people can go and do some physical exercises, parks to relax. If you have a function, you can do it here. And by the way, we have done the mapping and we know that this area is available. We have green spaces within the corridor. Next to Dadora Falls, next to Dadora dam site, we have a lot of disused quarries in these rivers, and they provide very good opportunity for these catalytic projects if we are serious on them. You can see these containers. I need to mention here that we have been talking to all stakeholders. The Kenya Revenue Authority is a major stakeholder because all the water that leaves Nairobi goes to Mombasa. We have talked to them, and they have promised us that they will support us with these sea containers as much as they can, because we need them for our people along the rivers. All these designs have been done locally. Of course, there is a design team led by KDF and other stakeholders, but we believe this is possible. As I finish this, I will be requesting my colleague, Brigadier Huria, to come forward and give us a short presentation on the multi-agency operations doctrine, because we have a national multi-agency operational doctrine that the stakeholders need to understand how it is structured and what their role is in such a situation, so that we are able to work together with them. That is the end of part 1. May I invite Brigadier Huria to come and continue with the presentation. Asanteni.
Deputy President, sir, of the Republic of Kenya, the Cabinet Secretary present, Principal Secretaries, our leaders, all protocols observed. My name is Brigadier Huria. I'm the Chief of Research, Doctrine, and Training Evaluation at the Defense Headquarters. I want to give a disclaimer that as much as I'm presenting this doctrine, it's not a Kenya Defense Force doctrine. Is a whole of government approach doctrine. So it's a document that was prepared by all the stakeholders, KDF being part of it, and I'm just presenting it as one of the stakeholders. Why doctrine? Of course, all that has been presented can only be achieved if you have something to guide it, to support the objectives that are supposed to be achieved. If we are to get to what we've seen on the video, then we need to have guidelines on how to get there. And therefore, as an introduction, the multi-agency security operations are efforts conducted by national security organs, key stakeholders, partners. These may include NGOs, civil society, and all other stakeholders, to mitigate effectively and efficiently mobilize national resources towards a combined and corrective management to maintain normalcy in the country. So basically, this doctrine is a fundamental guide on multi-agency structures, security sector stakeholders' functions and responsibility, legal framework, and security emergencies operational framework. So, basically, the doctrine is there to bring synergy by all stakeholders to achieve objectives. It's as simple as that. So that I don't dwell on the details. Just to give us more background, you are all aware of what we went through when we had terror attacks, right from the 1998 attacks, the Westgate attacks. And we learned lessons out of that, and also the management or the mitigation when we experienced disasters. And we saw shortfalls in terms of how all the stakeholders were participating in mitigating and trying to normalize the situation. And therefore, out of it, we realized that there was need to ensure that we harmonize and bring these stakeholders in a way that they will be able to effectively mitigate in the situation that arose so that we could be more effective. And I think you could see improvement even to the latest attack, especially during the Dusit attack. And also in terms of how we're able to mitigate on some of the natural disasters that occur in our country. Now, with that small introduction, basically, I'm just here to really apprise you on the multi-agency operation doctrine, and I don't intend to take so long. Now, what is the purpose of this doctrine? And like I've already indicated, is basically to bring synergy to all stakeholders so that they can be effective in mitigating and also in taking action whenever these emergencies or any insecurity occurs in our country. It draws its mandate by a situation where we'll have a multi-agency coordinating center, which shall be constituted by the authority of the National Security Advisory Committee on ad hoc basis, because it depends on the situation we are facing, because the situation may vary, whether it's a terror attack, whether it is an emergency or a disaster. And therefore, the situation determines how this multi-agency coordinating center will be constituted. Of course, it will be led by an appointed director who will come from a lead agency. I think it is important to emphasize on this aspect of lead agency. This will depend on, for example, let's say like during the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, the lead agency automatically was the Ministry of Health. And therefore, in terms of directing the operations on this, the lead agency will be the Ministry of Health, and other stakeholders will just come in support. And that is very, very important. Now, in as far as authority is concerned, I don't want to go so much into this because it's basically first based on the Constitution and other statutory requirements and also acts of parliament. Of importance to note is the issue of the Kenya Disaster Response Plan Bill and National Disaster Risk Management Policy, which are still in draft form. Maybe those who are concerned may apprise us, but by the time we are developing these documents, or this document they were still in draft forms. And probably this is an area that we need to look into to ensure to operationalize fully this document to be effective in our operations. Now, in as far as application is concerned, this doctrine actually applies to all national security organs, government and private security services, ministries, departments, and agencies. Non-state actors can be NGOs, they can be civil society and other actors, and any other relevant agency and partners in multi-agency security operations. So the doctrine applies to all this. Where does it apply? The multi-agency operations, and I think now it's becoming popular in our country in as far as how we are approaching all the challenges that we are facing, is basically when you talk about this and look at it in terms of the national security, look at it in the human security perspective, which cuts across environmental, health, political, economic, and all that. And therefore, these operations apply in all these, whether it is in terror, related activities, civil unrest, external incursions, and most probably, particularly for this case, on natural and man-made hazards, which include floods, droughts, famine, health emergencies, and pandemics. And we've seen how this has always been approached whenever we have any incident within our country. A classic example of how these multi-agency operations apply is what is happening in Lamu County, in the Operation Amani Boni. What is happening in North Rift, in the Operation Malizo Ugaidi. So this is the approach. And basically all over the world, they may call it other names, interagency, they may call it fusion, whole of government approach. But this is the approach because you realize all the challenges that we are experiencing basically cut across all the security facets. Now, just in a nutshell, so that I don't really dwell on this so much, it's divided into 6 chapters. We have the multi-agency structure and legal framework, which I've just given a glimpse of it. The joint multi-agency stakeholder mapping, lead and supporting agencies. I think this is very, very important because Unfortunately, sometimes when people hear of motor agency, they associate it with KDF. It's not. So KDF in most cases, based on our mandate, comes to support. So it all depends on what kind of a situation you are facing, where the lead agency will definitely take the lead in terms of coordinating all the operations. It also covers the multi-agency operational frameworks, or how are you going to mitigate, how are you going to ensure that you restore normalcy in case of whatever situation you're facing. Communication and information framework, very, very important. I think that is one of the key things, and especially what you're doing today is part of it. And how will you ensure that all stakeholders are kept informed and they are able to participate fully to ensure that you are efficient. Sustainment framework. As far as sustainment framework, we are basically talking about logistics, funding, budget. How are you going to mobilize all those resources so that you're able to achieve the objectives? Now, as far as the ad hoc agency coordinating center is concerned, these are basically how we visualize. Of course, the decision will come from the National Security Council, which is shared by the President. We have the National Security Advisory Committee. Of course, the multi-agency coordinating center, which will have a director coming from the lead agency. And of course, you'll have a secretariat. Now, the other prayers, because of their coordinating aspect, we'll have the line ministries, depending, which is, of course, emergency specific. Then we'll have a security cell, a public communication cell, legal cell, ops cell, or of course, finance and logistics cell. This is just an example of how we expect probably an ad hoc multi-agency coordinating center to look like. However, it will be situation dependent. It's not cast on stone. Can you move the slides? So basically, this is an example of a multi-agency coordinating cell where we have the representatives from the stakeholders. This was in Lamu. Now, the chapter 2, just in passing, I talked about the mapping, stakeholder mapping, lead and support agencies. And this just gives what the composition will be of the national stakeholders and the partners and the laws that they're supposed to play, so that you're effective in whatever situation you're facing. Next. Of course, whenever you talk about stakeholders, we'll have even the wananchi involved, so that you're effective. This is one of the stakeholders meeting in Lamu County. Next. Then the other one is the operational framework, national security multi-agency strategy, the incident and action to take, who is the tasking authority, how do you deactivate the ad hoc multi-agency coordinating center, especially, for example, like during COVID time, we had the COVID multi-agency coordinating center in Embakasi, but now it's no more. So who will deactivate it? The funding, in as far as these multi-agency operations are concerned, you need training, because you cannot be effective if you don't train those people who are supposed to participate in it. And the idea is, this is very, very important. And basically, probably we could not be in the situation we are in if this was observed. At any one time, and this is important for our country, is that we should ensure that we keep the boom being the incident or the emergency that has occurred. We should always ensure that we keep the situation to the left of the boom, where the multi-agency effort always endeavors to stop manifestation of the security emergency. That should be the emphasis. And therefore, in this case, we should always predict, prevent, and disrupt. Disrupt, in most cases, will be applied in terror attack, which we do on a daily basis. We do on a daily basis. We're always under threat of these terror attacks, but we always disrupt them so that they don't go to the right of the boom, because the situation changes when this happens. And how do you achieve this? How do you achieve this? You have to have continuous intelligence. You have to continuously monitor. And also training. The multi-agency should be continuously trained. The other thing is once the situation has gone out of hand, you always have to track, protect, and respond, and also recover to restore the situation to normalcy. And that is what we'd always want to achieve, where we restore the situation to normalcy. Next. Of course, you can't achieve all this without training. The training is very, very important. And next. Probably in this, what I would want to emphasize here is basically it should be gradual, in the sense that you start with seminars, workshops, going all the way to full-scale exercise where you simulate how the situation would unfold and what action every stakeholder should take. Next. Of course, the communication and information systems are very, very important. And of course, it must be secure communication depending on the situation you are facing. Next. And we already have a communication network which is secure under the National Security Telecommunication Service. And this ensures that all the stakeholders are able to communicate. Next. Now, sustainment, I talked about the logistics. How do we ensure that we are effective? We got to have resources that will ensure that those who are participating in ensuring that there is normalcy are supported. Next. And basically, this is how we've suggested the doctrine on how this can be achieved. Next. Next. Of course, it has several analyses which give details of basically what the doctrine is all about. Now, let me end with a quote that doctrine is not what is taught or what is published, but it is what is believed. So unless you believe, this is by Professor Richard Holmes, if you don't believe in it, then it's difficult to be able to achieve what you want. And therefore, in conclusion, what I would really, because in this forum, within that short time, I cannot be able to cover in detail on what the doctrine entails. And therefore, we really encourage all the stakeholders to familiarize themselves with the doctrine and to be able to enhance synergy and unity of effort to be able to achieve the national objectives that are before us in all situations. Thank you very much, sir.
Your Excellency, sir, we continue to get feedback from various stakeholders as we continue seeking the best coordinated strategy in the regeneration of the Nairobi rivers. I wish at this juncture, Your Excellency, to invite the Deputy Governor, Nairobi County, His Excellency Njoroge Mushiri, to present on behalf of the county position, rather briefly, as we consider feedback from all players present for this session. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I think what we've watched and listened to is a very, very comprehensive program done by the Nairobi Rivers Commission on what can happen or what will happen when we all engage to change the nature and state of the riverine spaces that we have within Nairobi. And from the examples we were shown, it is clear that it is possible, it is doable, it can be achieved, and it will be achieved because we have very strong sponsorship from His Excellency the President and His Excellency the Deputy President to ensure that we change Nairobi fundamentally. I think the thing we need to look at is that the program does not entail small little incremental changes, you know, like improving a candle. It is changing from a candle to a light bulb. It's completely a step change program, and that is what all the leadership that is invited here today is being invited to adopt and to be able to run with. From a Nairobi City County government perspective, Your Excellency, you recall that we were part of the process of setting this up right from the beginning, and we have continued to get engaged in the activities of the Nairobi Rivers Commission. I'm personally involved in literally all the meetings that happen to chart this way forward, representing the county government, and we have other stakeholders who are involved. But we've also identified along the way that we have many people who have been working along the rivers for many years and doing different things. Some of what we have seen in the achievements that have been shown here by the local communities. And those communities, what we have identified, they just need push, they need support. They need to be able to be shown the bigger picture so they can be part of the implementation of that bigger picture. But talking about the Nairobi City County government and the responsibility we have, we acknowledge that a lot of these responsibilities ideally would have been done by the county government, but of course the president also in his executive order when he's setting up government, he set up the Nairobi Rivers Commission, which is housed under the office of the deputy president, and therefore we are lucky that on top of us making the efforts that we make, the national government works with us or is working in collaboration with the county government to help move this forward. And that's how we have got such a powerful and effective team in the Nairobi Rivers Commission that is driving this forward. What we can say in the county government, and of course with the support of the Assembly, and I'm very happy that very many members of the Assembly are here to actually listen in and join in this vision, it is that we will support this program. We will ensure that we start off the program. It's a huge program, and that we'll be able to see the results along all these river basins. Most of the honorable members of the Assembly who are here today, and even the members of the National Assembly, have one way or another interacted with these communities, because about 60–70% of our population live in these areas which we want to transform. So it is a total transformation of Nairobi, it's a total transformation of the city, and I think there's no better time than this to engage and to support and ensure that these programs are successful in each of our own spaces. So all the honorable members of the County Assembly, you have these rivers and these spaces forming part of your wards, and I think, and I would plead and ask that you support the implementation of the program, and whatever asks that we have from the county, from the executive, you would support this to ensure that we move forward with the program. I don't think I want to say much from that, because you have seen it. You have seen what damage we have done to the river, but you also seen the possibility. You've also seen the end picture. You've seen what can be done. You've seen what can be achieved. And you've seen things that have been done, even across here in Ethiopia, which is a short flight away from Nairobi. And I think it's something that we need to all support and ensure that we drive forward. I think at this time, probably, Your Excellency, with your permission, we probably want to invite reactions from the leadership in the Assembly and also in the National Assembly who are here. So if that is okay, we can give them opportunities to actually react to the presentation and also to what has been done. Okay, sorry, I've been guided that we need to have one more step. Thank you, we'll call them later.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Please let us give a lot of applause to the Nairobi Rivers Commission on the good work they have done. In the presentation, you can tell a lot of work has been done by this team. And it's not only the Nairobi Rivers Commission, but with many of our stakeholders. At this point, Your Excellency, allow me to invite the CS for Defense, Aden Duale, to make some remarks. Karibu Waziri.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, all protocol observed, good afternoon. Your Excellency, let me just say what is the role of KDF in the Nairobi River generation. I think that's only my beat. KDF was assigned to lead this institution and to advise on two thematic areas. These include the riparian mapping, the solid waste area, and to lead the multi-agency team. Sorry, I think Brigadier Huria, he presented the multi-agency team in the form of the national security architecture. I think you'll need to come back and maybe sometimes later to link it to how that multi-agency team can work within the Nairobi River Commission. And Your Excellency, following a request from your office, MOD and KDF were requested to assist with the technical expertise in opening up of the multi-agency operation as recommended in the actual plan. And following that request, a number of officers have been posted to Nairobi River Commission, with the lead person be the CEO of the Nairobi River Commission, Brigadier Mureshia. And when he finishes, we need him very, very urgently at the Defense Headquarters. In fact, we gave him 1 year, and I think he's about to end, Your Excellency. So he has a lot of work pending for him, but he has done a good job. And Your Excellency, and other officers were deployed to the Commission under the Joint Multi-Agency Operation Center. Leadership of the concept transforming the rivers of Nairobi into frontage and frontier of the city have been designed. And we are very happy the President and you have taken this deliberate action. In terms of equipment, we have provided 2 excavators and 1 tipper with the personnel deployed on the request of the Nairobi River. But Your Excellency, as I told you earlier, under the KDF Act and the Constitution, our roles are limited. There are roles for Nairobi City County, there are roles for the National Police Service, there are roles for all the other environmental and other agencies. Ours is limited. And I think all of us together, we must achieve the mission of the Nairobi River, which is to the protection, the restoration, the rehabilitation, and the beautification of the rivers. Your Excellency, sir, I have nothing else to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Waziri. On behalf of the PSs who are here with us today, I invite PS for Water, Julius Correll, to make some remarks. And then we'll be calling back the DG Nairobi for the plenary and request all the executive who are here, the MDAs, the PSS, when the time comes for responding to the issues which will be raised, all of us will be in that place to respond. Karibu, PS.
Your Excellency, Honorable CSs who are here, Deputy Governor for Nairobi, Honorable Members of Parliament and MCAs from Nairobi, good morning. It's a privilege for me to stand before you this morning just to share on the experience we've had in this journey of reimagining how Nairobi River will be looking in its entirety. The mission, after the commission was set up, we were enrolled in as the Minister of Water because we play a very key role in this area. We provide water, we also provide sanitation, and so the regeneration of Nairobi required that holistic approach. And so in this team, we contributed our technical know-how, that is our engineers, water engineers, as well as also sanitation and also hydrologists, just to ensure that as we reimagine the frontage, as we imagine the training of the river, we will ensure that all the technical aspects have been incorporated. So we've been part of this, and I'm very proud that you are agreeing to the vision or the inception that we've seen. And as we look at it, there are two aspects in this regeneration. One is the infrastructure, and I think that is where the master plan is. And as the Brigadier said, this is where we are now doing the detailed engineering designs to know the costings so that now we can appropriately budget and be able to roll it out. The other aspect is, and the infrastructure bit is very easy because it is quantities, engineering designs, and then you put money, you're able to implement. The difficult part is about the regulations and ensuring that no further waste is released into the river. And this is where now, through the multi-agency approach that has been proposed, we want to look at the regulators. This is NEMA, Water Resource Authority, this is Nairobi County, Nairobi Water and Sanitation. How do we now ensure that no more waste is released into the river? And this is where our agency, that is the Water Resource Authority, has gone ahead and mapped out the entire river corridor, the highest mark after the, let's say, the highest level of water, and then you do some meters which is allowed in law. This is where now we need to ensure that the entire corridor is clear. We make it safe and an attractive place where our people can go and recreate. So this is an area that now I think, Your Excellency, will need to enhance that stakeholder engagement that is on the regulatory front, so that now we prevent further making that pollution of the river. Otherwise, as a ministry, through my CS who is here with me, he has given us all the support and the free hand to be able to work with the Nairobi Commission so that we can reimagine this. With our view, we are thinking that if we are done, and we have been given, I think, 1 month, which is about a few weeks now remaining for the engineering designs to be ready. Once they are ready, I think the next phase, Your Excellency, you'll take it up so that now we can move on. Otherwise, through my colleagues, I know my colleague PS Ngeno, we are working together, PS Housing, we are working together, because as we do this regeneration, we are also integrating communities so that as the people are being affected, they should be given a nice habitation where they can also enjoy their living. So otherwise, I don't have much, but just to say that from the ministry, we are working very closely, and we look forward to the support and any cheering and resourcing by everybody who is here. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency, sir, to invite now the Deputy Governor, Nairobi County, to moderate and take us through feedback session from the various members of Parliament, as well as members of the County Assembly, Nairobi.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I think we can now take the feedback from the leaders that are invited here. And I'd want to offer the opportunity first to the members of Parliament who want to give feedback. There's one there, Honorable Karauri.
I wanted to move in front here so that at least His Excellency can see me as I speak.
Okay.
Your Excellency, first of all, I want to thank you. I think with this government, we've seen initiatives which we will see turn into reality. And we have all the faith and all the support you need, you will have from us. And then secondly, it's good you started with mentioning the floods that we're experiencing, especially in Nairobi. As I've been sitting here, I've been sent a lot of videos because it is slowly turning into a national disaster. And I'm happy that you've recognized that, because a lot of people in Nairobi are suffering. And I think what we've seen here today, it's intertwined, the flooding and the flow of Nairobi River. I come from a constituency called Kasarani. And I remember Brigadier here mentioning, I don't know if I had him wrong, he actually said Ruai is very far from Nairobi. I just want to remind him, Ruai is still in Nairobi. It is actually my constituency. There was also a mention of multi-agency approach. It was good to educate us, because some of us, when we used to hear multi-agency, we remember Matiangi. And those are things we want to put in the past. But now, when you look at the topography of Nairobi, that's why I mentioned Njiru and Ruai. And from what we've been told from the Nairobi Rivers Commission, the tributaries join at Njiru and then flow all the way to Ruai. So if you look at the topography of Nairobi, even when these rains come, the flood water, it all flows in that direction. That is where we have the biggest issue. And even the last time we had a disaster, people were being airlifted from the Ruai area. I'm just speaking about the flooding first before I get into the rivers issue itself, because as we speak now, we need a permanent solution. And I saw the DG of Kura is here, and that's why also I wanted to address this issue. We're in the budgeting process. Some of the solution, in Ruai, we have 0 roads, no roads at all. So when this flooding happens, Your Excellency, everyone is marooned. You just have one big lake, nobody can leave their homes, and a solution that can come is just, if we have some roads there with a drainage accompanying it, it solves a big part of the problem that we have in flooding. That's the reason I wanted to mention the flooding, but when we go to the rivers itself, I love that, Your Excellency, you said, when we have elected leaders, it's good to involve them in this process. One of the aspects that we must take care of is most of the people living on this riparian land, especially in the informal settlements, they are the same people who are doing the cleaning up of the river. And they already have their community-based organizations which are taking part in this process. And I think it's very important that you engage us again, because what I've realized, there are some entities that are approaching you, and they come and sell themselves as the CBOs that are doing the cleanup in those Nairobi rivers. Some of those people who do that cleanup, I can assure you, do not have the opportunity to come to your office and give you documents and explain that we are the ones doing the cleanup. But if you engage us, we will connect you with the actual people who are doing that cleanup. Because when it comes to the point of relocating these individuals, you might end up having a situation where you are relocating the wrong people, and then again, you give jobs to the people to do the cleanup who are not the people who are settled in that area. So I think it's an aspect where if you engage the leadership, especially the elected leadership from those constituencies and the counties and the wards, you'll be able to identify the actual people who are doing the cleanups in those particular areas. That is one aspect I think it's very important to capture, so that as we live here and as we proceed, so that we don't get to a point of relocating people, then we end up with a crisis. Because remember, as elected leaders, we end up to side with the people. So you can end up having a problem there if you have the wrong people who are coming to those areas. So with those few words, I just want to say it's an amazing initiative. It's about time, because it's never too late. You know, we could easily have lived the river the way it was and let it flow and accept that is the reality of Nairobi. But I've seen it's something that can be done, and with all the involvement, and especially with the leadership from the top, it's something that can be achieved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. We have Honorable Pasaris here.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, all protocols observed. Wow, I mean, I would like to give a hearty clap to the Nairobi River Regeneration Commission. Honestly, well done. The CEO and the efforts that you made, the money that you spent to actually take us on an aerial view. You know, when you're in the slums, you don't see it. You just see the dirt, the heaps, but you don't see how it's all interconnected. So that was an amazing education. As soon as the commission was formed, I made an appointment, and I went in and I sat with them, and I wanted to know how we can get involved. And when they had the cleanup on World Environment Day, my office participated. But that was just one effort, and I think we have a lot of work to do. You know, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, and I think the direction has been carved for us. What we need is the resources, and we need the goodwill. And we need to remember that we're going to leave this country to our own children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. And if we don't get it right, then we will have failed not just ourselves, because this mess is our creation, whether it's the last parliament, the previous parliament. It's something that's been bundling up and bundling up and bundling up. But right now, I can see we have a holistic approach. And I really look forward to the day that we will be called to be part of the cleanup. We'll be called to be part of talking to the communities. As political leaders, we have to all own this project. So we know the relocation is necessary. But what I would like is for us to have a humane way of doing it. I always feel that we lose that touch and forget that we're trying to build something for them, but at the same time we aggrieve them. So as we're trying to relocate them out of the river beds, and which basically is for their safety. I've seen a policeman washed away, I've seen a little girl washed away. Today we have definitely some deaths as well in the county. So we have to move them, but we have to recognize that we have to move them somewhere. So we need to create the houses along the riverbed first, and then we relocate them, or have a decanting site where we can relocate people, because that's their home. You know, for us, it's dangerous, it's an eyesore, it's unhealthy, you know, it's not what we want the city to reflect, but this is what our failures is what led to that. So what we need to do is to, whatever we do, when we start this project, let's have a humane face so that we can move them somewhere and understand that we're moving them as we're cleaning up, and let them own. Everybody has to own this project. If we own it, we'll be able to succeed. And if we don't succeed, you know, when I fly Ethiopian Airways, I get so depressed, because Kenya Airways was the pride of Africa. And when you go to Addis and you see what they have done, we can do this. We should have done it a long time ago. So I want to say thank you very much, Deputy President, for calling us all here together to be here to see what is possible. The question is, you know, you can make a lot of money. You can, you know, be corrupt. You can do all those things. But, you know, there's no money. You know, I mean, I might have lost my project Adopt a Light because of corruption, but I'm still called Mama Ta. And it gives me a lot of pride. Its value is a lot more than the billions I would have probably made by having been corrupt. So I just want us to, you know, just realize that this life is so short. Let's do this for Kenya. Let's do this for ourselves. We might see this and be so proud. Let's do this for our children. When I read the verse from Genesis, you know, on the 6th day, God rested and everything was good, right? Today is the 24th, which adds up to 6, all right? 24 is divisible by 6, 4 times. So let's just be connected with what God intended for us. What we saw in the clips there with all the garbage and all the illnesses that come from it, that's not what God gave us. Let's bring the Garden of Eden back. Let's make this city shine. Because if we don't do it, who will? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Kosaris. I just ask that we make our contributions short so that we can accommodate as many members as possible.
Thank you.
So that we can hear their views.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, the Deputy President. All protocols observed and the leadership of Nairobi. There's no one else who will be able to do this job if it is not us. And with the whole leadership of Nairobi City and County being represented here today, I think the solution to have this project work is actually here with us today. And Your Excellency, if you make sure that this project work, and I know you will, this would be a legacy project for you, with the Nairobi River Commission being domiciled under your office. But what also very important is the job opportunities that will be available for our young people. And I've seen what the brigade has done, having clustered the Nairobi River into the small sections and in kilometers and almost into the villages. Let our young people own the process, let them be part of this whole journey. And having watched what is here and having traveled a bit, even as close as Ethiopia here, to see what has been done there, I can actually tell you that today is the first time maybe I can use a phrase that was not really popular here. Inawezekana. Asanteni sana.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we can take the leadership from the MCS this side as well. Right at the back, you're the first one to raise your hand. I can't quite. Oh, Dr. Kamaro. Please give him the mic. MCA for Car West.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Mine is just a quick observation. And I like being a realist at times, because I've noticed during your presentation, Brigadier, it was a very brilliant presentation. But I've noticed that since 2002, you've just been telling us more about partnerships and logical frameworks. But what have you done so far? That is what, when I came here, I intended to see. What is the report between 2002 to now? What have you been able to achieve? So that from there, we can be able to track what has been done vis-a-vis what is expected of us. And again, there is the issue of timelines. Do we have timelines in place? Because we cannot just be talking. Kenyans, we are very good at having these sittings and in big hotels, talking about very brilliant ideas, giving out, but the action itself, it lacks the action itself. What are we doing about it? What is the real action on the ground? So, on the part of recommendations, my thinking is there are two main factors that we are missing out. As much as Brigadier and your team, I really laud you for what you've done, there is the issue of rural to urban migration. That is something you're missing in Nairobi. What is causing all this stress and strain in our rivers is mainly because of the issue of rural to urban migration. That's something probably you didn't capture it. And then also, there's the issue of fertility. Look at where these rivers are and look at the population that is living around there. Most of the people are living around those rivers, along those rivers, because their fertility rates are increasing. That's something actually even so on the presentation. So we need to look at those two main things of rural to urban migration, fertility rates, and then let's avoid this issue of vicious cycle all the time, having to have meetings like this, but no action plan is done. We need, after every meeting, let's have a response through an action plan. And lastly, let's also talk about water harvesting. Countries like Israel, they don't even receive the kind of rainfall we're having right now, but they're able to feed themselves. We guys are complaining about these floods right now, but when the floods end, when the dry season starts, we start complaining there's no water again. What measures do we have you put in place to ensure that we have water harvesting measures? And that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Hesh. Can I go right at the end there? That's Alai.
Yes.
Yes,
thank you, thank you, DG. His Excellency, the Deputy President, I'll speak while talking until I get to the front. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm here because we are part of the government. We are elected officers, they are appointed officers, and so on. And also, I'm very proud to see the serving men in uniform who have done a very marvelous job. I'd like to remind my friend there, I think it's from 2022, not 202. And you know, in Nairobi, we are a very funny structure of engagement that the government at the county is UDA, but the majority leadership is ODM and Azimio. So it means if this plan is part of UDA manifesto, the implementers, the people who are going to lead the government business in that assembly is ODM and is Azimio. And last week, the majority leader told us that sitaki kusikia mtu anapinga serikali. So I'm here because of that very nice comment. The other thing I have to remind you is that there are two key committees in that, sectoral committees. One of them is environment and the other one is planning. Environment is led by ODM. Planning is also led by ODM. And I think we have to recognize that if we are not part of the plan from the start, we might not make this thing very successful. I represent people who have a mix. A very good section of us is middle class, but also there's a very big section which is very poor. And that section, both sections suffer because of the environmental consequences of our activities. One of the estates which is remembered in Nairobi here and recognized is Riverside. Riverside is very happy now when it rains. And because the river which is passing through, Nairobi River, which is passing through Riverside, where even General Gola used to live, is an open sewer, and it's stinking. The people who are next to the river are choking with that filth because they are the rich, but they say the rich also cry, yeah? And it's very unfortunate that we see that stink happens under our watch. So I see I must be part of this because the Deputy President is leading a very noble cause. There are two initiatives which the Deputy President is leading and I have to be part of it. The crackdown on alcoholism, you know, and the penetration of alcohol and illegal drugs everywhere in our society. I think we have to stop that. Then the environmental degradation, this one, I think we have to be forefront. His Excellency the Deputy President, there's a park at the front next to Chalby Drive, which Minister Michuki led for a very long time to protect. And that riparian section has been wholly untouched. And I think until during the campaigns and the election, where a brigadier, not a brigadier, a colonel called Colonel Adari, who is a military doctor, invaded and built a very huge building and right into the middle of the river. I think it's a very low-hanging fruit. The discipline formations can start with that, recall their officers, tell the officer, tafadhali huwezi kuharibu hii, tafadhali huwezi kuharibu hii, wacha kuishi katikati ya river. Even the poor people have avoided touching in remembrance of Minister Michuki. But a military officer went and built during the election where he knew that there are new elected leaders who are coming in and might not be aware of the dynamics of the area. So, Mheshimiwa, His Excellency, the Deputy President, I'm so grateful to be part of this process, and you can count on my support and the support of like-minded fellows in the Assembly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Alai. Now we can have Shege Maura. Mheshimiwa Shege Maura.
Thank you. DG, Your Excellency, my two interventions. Number one is that any elected leader, whether you're in parliament, whether you're in a National Assembly or in the county, anytime you hear the multi-agency approach, you get shivers, especially us who are in this side. So, again. Yeah, any of us who hears multi-agency approach, honestly, because of the ule amelimu wa kwanza, you shiver, because we find it as an approach that government uses to hit out at those vitongoji dunis and the small-scale traders, yet they cannot go and there's no one else to report to because it's not the police, it's not the military, it's not Kanjo, it's a multi-agency. It's a, so for me, when the explanation was being done was not very clear on the process of the implementation of the regeneration plan. So it would be important maybe in terms of after the plenary we explain to the process of how it's going to be implemented so that we are also able to disseminate the same information so that when we are talking to traders, because in my area, Ngara, my name is Chege Maura, I represent Ngara next to the CBD. Grogon divides between CBD and town. All those traders are going to be affected. All those mechanisms are going to be affected. It is important that we also have a very good plan of how we take it to the next level. Secondly, every time again, the master effluent polluters are usually not the small guys. They're also the industries and the bigger players, as Mheshimiwa Alai is talking about. That Museum Hill area, they are no traders, but the stench that comes from that area is unbearable, just next to Kempinski there. So much as it's easy to hit out at the small guys, also look at the big effluent wasters. Finally, and more importantly to the county government, the explanation was not very clear on the role of the county government as well as the role of the county assembly in the regeneration plan. Laws that we make at the county assembly would help us in get the input of the Mwananchi as much as possible, and also in terms of rolling out of the implementation. There's a clear role of the County Assembly that has been hiding or has not come out fully in the plan, and also the role of the county government as far as the sewer line that passes through Nairobi River, of course, is a Nairobi water. You know, it's built by Athi River, Athi Water, run by Nairobi River. In fact, the section in Ngara has already broken because sewage is actually flowing straight to Nairobi River, just near Ngara Market. So the role of the county government is really important in this discussion. I thank you.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. I think I can answer that straight away. The county government, including both the executive and the assembly, are going to be very integral in this process, and there'll be continuous consultations between the two arms. Before I proceed, I'd like to acknowledge, Your Excellency, with your permission, the arrival of members of Parliament, Beatrice Elachi, Dagoretti North, Yusuf Hassan Kamukonji, James Gakuya Bazenga, Embakasi North, and Benjamin Kathiru Mejadonk, Embakasi Central. Karibuni. Mheshimiwa Kwenya.
Thank you for this chance. And I just want to go directly to the point. The economic benefits, I've seen it being highlighted, but I think if we integrate the issue of the benefits, you know, most people are using the riverbanks as their source of income. So I would prefer you consider most the issue of mechanics. It affects me directly. Most of our young men have been forgotten, the mechanics on the riverbanks of Grogan. Number two, we can also do fishing on that river. If you can think about fishing, which to me I thought of widening the river from Misiam to a place like Koba, whereby we can have the means of transport even enhanced. People can change from using the road, that is the Uhuru Highway, going down to Dadora. We can expand the river to accommodate maybe the boat sliding, those kind of activities. We can even use, people instead of using the roads and the walking, they can use the river as a means of transport from Misiam going down to where we have the parks. Because I've seen the plan, we have a lot of parks along the river. People can be moving their children using the boats, the boat riding, those are kind of sports that can be done on the river. The relocation and the empowerment of my people, that is the people on the riversides, the mechanics, the people in Gekomba, where they are the Kamokoji people. And we have seen so many people have been doing buildings along the rivers. What are we going to do with those people? So the relocation part of it is very important. And I know that we have LAD, like there is this parking on the side of Gara, which can be bought by the commission to accommodate some of our people who are doing activities there. So the final thing, as you are doing this project, I would prefer you start with CBD, because CBD can be a piloting. It can bring a good picture. When you approach in other areas, people can have that confidence that it can be done. So CBD and the economic empowerment of my people can be very great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Kwenya. I think we'll take just one or two more because we can see that the leadership is quite... DNG. Okay, yeah, I was just saying we take one or two more so that we can allow His Excellency the Deputy President to give us the way forward.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, DG, thank you so much for the opportunity. Your Excellency, we absolutely support this initiative to regenerate our rivers. But as we do so, we need to consider sustainability. How do we ensure that as we implement this plan, that there is sustainability along that riverway? Firstly, I think there is a need for a concerted effort between national government and the county government of Nairobi, hence why we're here. That needs to include technical expertise and especially resources. I don't know, as Nairobi County, we're experiencing the great flooding that we are witnessing in this city. But the truth of the matter is we, as Nairobi County, do not have the funding to take care of that menace or that challenge. Therefore, we call upon the national government to support us in several ways, and I have several recommendations. Firstly, if you look at visionary countries that have been able to achieve the kind of videos and photos we've been illustrated today, they have things like dikes that have been able to be built along those waterways to keep away the flooding. Apart from that, we need to overhaul our drainages and our sewer systems. This is a big challenge, that whenever we are experiencing the flood water from the rivers, when it bursts its banks or when we're experiencing massive rainfall, our systems are not able to structurally accommodate that massive amount of water. And I know that the national government has several sources of funding. Somebody has alluded to Kura, somebody else has alluded to Kenha. We also have the disaster fund. We also have the fuel levy that ideally is supposed to be looking at the repair of existing roads as well as the repair of existing drainages. These are very viable proposals that we need to consider so that we can move forward as a team. And as I conclude, I think we also need to look at support from elements like the military and the NYS to support us in terms of mitigating flooding. I know we have our own personnel. We have 3,500 young people we call the Green Army that Nairobi County has recruited, but we are struggling in terms of machinery. For example, we only have 2 flashing units in the Nairobi County, especially in terms of roads, which has been not very well funded and resourced. If there is capacity that the military can bring on board or the NYS can bring on board to complement what we already have, that would be something that is very much welcome to be able to give Nairobians the service delivery that they deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa DNG. I'll have the few. Just a couple of minutes so that we can get the CEO of Nairobi Rivers Commission to first respond before we allow the Deputy President to give us a way forward.
Thank you so much. Mine is quite brief. Thank you for the presentation you have done today. But the impression that I get from that presentation is you have looked into the eastern side of Nairobi. You haven't looked into the western side of Nairobi. And also the impression that you have created here is that the eastern side of Nairobi is so forested. Yes, we have the forest, but you also have these challenges. And I would want to give an example with Ruaka River. Ruaka River, there is a project by Runda Water. They abstract their waters from Ruaka River, but the project is no longer viable because the waters are polluted. So the waters are not only polluted on the western side of Nairobi. Lastly, a study has been done by Friends of Karura, and I'm happy to see Kenya Forest here, Beatrice and Madam Mothoni there. When this water gets into Karura Forest, they are very polluted. But when this water gets out of Karura Forest at DCI, they are quite clean. So what we are getting here is that trees and vegetation will always help with these issues of pollution. Lastly, Nairobi for many years is known as a place of cool waters. So we are going to always have waters in Nairobi. It is us who have invaded into this forest and destroyed vegetation. The result is what we are having today. So even when our roads have turned out to be waterways and watercourse, Waziri for irrigation, it is water coming back to us. And I'm going to end this with what Wangari Maathai said, that nature is very unforgiving and also quite unforgetful. So maji itarudi kwa mkondo yake. Kama vile Wakikuyu tunasema maeni magoshoka mukaro. So with those few remarks, thank you so much. May we be remembered on the western side of Nairobi.
Thank you, Muhesh. I think the Nairobi Rivers Basin, as conceived, covers all the rivers that flow through Nairobi. I'm not speaking on behalf of the Commission, but I think they intend to look at every part of the city that is impacted by this problem. I think I'll call the last speaker so that I can ask the Brigadier to respond. So, Speaker. From Roysambu.
Your Excellency, Deputy President of Kenya, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for seeing it twice, in particular to engage the MCAs. Because I've always said, if the MCAs are not present, the mwananchi ule wa mashinani, sometimes their views are not captured. And I say this because when Kura, for example, does a road without the involvement of the MCA, what happens? We receive calls, Mheshimiwa, hii barabara unajenga hapa, ni ya wapi? And I have to consult as a leader because I was not involved in that national project. So I think moving forward, I want to encourage and request that any project that is being done, whether at the national level, at the county level, it's good to involve the MCA so that we get their views. Number two, I want to appreciate this initiative. It's a good initiative. I want to point out two things. Number one, how we can fast track the installation of sewer system within the slums. Because reality has it, where we have a slum, we have a river along or around that slum. So if we are able to fast track the installation of sewer, it will go a long way in preventing our rivers. Number two, circular economy. This is a great idea that was adopted in the country. But again, the spirit of that circular economy has not or is yet to be realized. And I say this because with circular economy, again, it comes to one, promote the socio-economic bit by exposing the people who are engaged in that field in terms of businesses, the products they're selling. Number two, in terms of waste reduction. And then number three, in terms of recycling. Because if the spirit of circular economy, there was an element where they had suggested that we have recycling centers at the ward level. So the waste that we are talking about that gets its way into the river, if we are able to have an area where this waste can be segregated and perhaps recycled, it will also go a long way in handling the issue. So I didn't see that bit. I think it's something that really needs to be encouraged. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. I think with those remarks from the MCAs and the MPs, I think we can all get that this program has got support universally across the leadership and across the political leadership in the county. And I think it's a very good first start. Right, so before we go to Brigadier Morashia, I need to give an opportunity to Mheshimiwa Beatrice Elachi to say something, and Mheshimiwa Yusuf to say something. Please pass the mic through to them.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, my apologies for coming in later. We had a bill to finish in Parliament. But having said that, Your Excellency, first, I want to take this opportunity to thank you to just calling us as Nairobians to come and discuss this matter, which I know is now a disaster that we are about to call it a national disaster, not just for Nairobi, but I think for the whole country. And more importantly, just looking down in the morning when we wake up and we looked at Mathare, and I think many people, women, children, have just gone with that water because everything is submerged. But having said that, I know we have to get solutions. And Your Excellency, one of the things that I've always looked in Nairobi, and we've just decided to be bad people, I will say that, is that we decided ourselves that people can build anywhere they would wish, Your Excellency, and just leave it. And because we have received money or something, and we leave our people in the worst when it comes now to disasters of water, and this is where we are now, Your Excellency. I will tell you, Nairobi River starts from up. So even if we are discussing, we have to look at from the south, Dagoretti South coming down, because the water comes from there. And the worst is the garbage, Your Excellency. If we don't deal with that garbage issue and make sure it is not thrown into the waters, into the drainages, then we are just saying what we are saying, and in the end we will find ourselves in the same challenge. So we must deal with the garbage first. And that garbage, at the people at night when water is there, they throw it. Right now, Your Excellency, we have compounds in Lavington with dogs dead, cats, diapers, all sorts of manner of things. And I have called to the county, which I have worked with, and I am disappointed. And Your Excellency, we must re-agree as Nairobi. Some functions must come back to the national government. I know you will say no, but you are not performing for Nairobians. You are not performing. Go and perform. Go and perform for us. We can't live the way people are living now and tell us you are able with your functions. You have failed. So for me, I won't fear here. I came exactly to tell you, go and function as Nairobi County to see us happy as we pay our resources. You say no when you give us good things. We say yes, we want the national government when you are not performing. It is as simple as that. And the second one, Your Excellency, is as much as we are fighting all this, we need a few support for the people who don't have anything right now. We want the government to help us with food, with blankets, with the short-term solutions, then we go to the long-term, Your Excellency. As I finalize, we are still with you on the issue of alcohol to our young people. That one, we are also not relenting, and we will support everything. I repeat, county government, perform for Nairobians before we start collecting signatures to close you down. Thank you. I am there performing in Dagoretti North.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Lachi, for your candid feedback. Now we go to Mheshimiwa Hassan.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to acknowledge our Deputy President and all the other dignitaries. And I wanted to apologize also for coming a bit late. I was a victim of the climate change. A number of trees had fallen on my street, including a transformer, and I wasn't able to get out this morning as I planned. And I must say that I want to say that I fully support the Nairobi River Commission and the work the Deputy President is doing to clean up our rivers. As a Nairobian, I fully remember Nairobi as a beautiful city to grow up. Nairobi River was a clean river. We used to go and swim there. We used to fish there. And some people might say that this might be fiction, but I have lived at a time when we had safe drinking water on our taps. And everything had changed when I came back after many years. And our city is completely dysfunctional. And this is not something I blame on the current government of our county. It is a historical problem that has been going on. Poor planning, mismanagement, corruption, it's piled up. It's a city really that needs to be fixed very seriously. And we may not be able to do everything about Nairobi at the moment, but at least the least we can do is clean up our rivers, remove the garbage. There's garbage everywhere. There's sewage pouring everywhere. And this morning I woke up and I was talking to my community in Kamkunji. Bridges on the river have been swept, footbridges on the rivers have been swept away. Whole communities along the river have been displaced. And there's a real crisis. And I think we need to really focus on crisis management and disaster response. Even when I called KPLC this morning, that number, nobody picks up that number. You call the Nairobi City County, there's an emergency number, nobody picks up that number. So there is a dysfunctionality and there is a crisis, and I think we need to admit it. And unless we can change that, Nairobi can never be fixed. Mr. Deputy President, I also want to appeal to you on the alcohol, illicit alcohol. Nothing is happening in the informal settlements of Kamkunji. These brews are made in huge numbers. You see people being supplied with them. And then the other thing that I also thought is that you had put a ban on the demolition of people's settlements and people markets. And this week, the Nairobi County demolished 300 stalls in Kikomba to make space for fire station. The people of Kikomba want a fire station, but Mr. Deputy President, they don't want to be displaced. There's enough space to put 2 fire stations in the market. We don't understand why 3,000 people would be removed from their livelihoods and from their homes. And every member who has been removed from there has a family, has food to put on the table, has fees to pay, has rents to pay. They're human beings. So I also urge you to look at that particular issue, because there is enough space. But those 3,000 people who've been displaced should be returned so that they can continue their livelihood in the market. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and all the best with the Nairobi Commission, and we fully support your work.
All right, thank you. I now call upon Brigadier Murashia to come and respond to the matters raised.
Thank you very much, DG, Your Excellency. I said thank you very much, the Deputy Governor. Your Excellency, sir, I'm very excited by the questions that have been asked here. And my general answer is one. Last month, the Commission was facing the Parliamentary Committee on National or Regional Security. And the same question was asked. And because I had been prepared, by the time I left that room, they told me, we agree with you. Please, know that we didn't have time to say everything. The Commission is only 14 months old. 22 is the other day. It was only last year when we did it 12 months. We are now the 2nd month. And we can tell you, because we said the Commission's responsibility is coordination. You can imagine by the time we have managed to bring you here, from the grassroots we have done a lot. We have done a lot of frameworks, a lot of coordination documents, the action plan. We are now moving into the thematic areas. The action plan I said has 10 thematic areas. Each of these commissioners is reading a thematic area. There's one dealing with sewerage, and he has a stakeholder, technical or thematic working committee. They meet every week to address the problem. So all the issues that have been raised here have been addressed through the thematic working committees from the Commission perspective. And I believe we will be getting where we are supposed to. Please get it from me. All the issues you have raised are being addressed. We are not going to do anything to adversely affect anybody. We are very considerate. We know our brothers are there. We know they will be relocated, but I must do it diligently. I said it must be done in a very dignified way. That is the general question. The other one, I just mentioned that the rivers flow from Kiambu through Nairobi to Ruai. I didn't say Ruai is far. I just said they transit. I know where Ruai is, and please, that was something that was maybe misquoted. Community engagement. Thank you very much, MCA, for asking that question. This is a question that has been asked severally. From the time we started working, we were very careful to involve the communities. And we knew it will get you. Let me tell you, if you go to whatever zone that you represent, those people will tell you. I have all the zones in my WhatsApp group. They call me directly if they have a problem. And they have no complaint within themselves, the way they did the mapping. We just brought them in a room like this, gave them guidelines, and told them, please, tell us how best you can do. They did it themselves. They erected their own readers. And it was very easy because every day we have an activity, an event. They read it by itself. We only go to join them. So please be assured that we are there. We will be considering your suggestions. The issue of water harvesting, I think that one will be dealt by the thematic area of drainage and hydrology. And the Ministry of Water is actually, Kura, Kera, and Professor Biama, who is the vice chair, is actually the lead of that particular thematic area. The relocation plan, I think PS housing left. We have very good ideas. We are engaging. As late as yesterday, we were discussing how can we do this in a very smooth way. And I think you will be assured that very soon there will be a good plan. Multi-agency operations, please don't fear. The reason why it is multi-agency is because if you said Murashia to go and do something, he can easily be compromised. But when you said 12 institutions to deal with one problem, how will you deal with that? We will just need to organize it that we have one reader and it will be followed through. Even if there is a disaster, for example, today, and you need to call Mutu or Nairobi County government the way we have been told, in the Multi-Agency Operation Center, we have a representative from Nairobi County. So you tell him, the county government is supposed to respond to this. You know who is responsible. Please, can you liaise with that person and make sure the necessary step is taken? That is the multi-agency operation concept. It is not meant to injure anybody or harm anybody. It is to make things easy and then bring the resources together. The last one of the registries talked about the dikes. Yes, we are considering that. In all our designs, we have very good planners, very good architects, very good engineers. We are doing it comprehensively. We have gabions. We have all these options, and they have been taken care of. Please, in case you want to know more details, please, you are free to visit the commission, talk to us. Our line is open. We will explain to you what we have been doing. But we can assure you, once you get to us, you will be satisfied. Regarding what we have done, I will not repeat that. Your Excellency, let me summarize it there, unless there is any pertinent issue that has not been answered. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Brigadier Murashia. I think that is a good and passionate summary of what has been asked and requested. And I know the members who have asked the issues, and even the others who haven't spoken, are very keen on seeing a different Nairobi. This is an existential problem. It is not, in my view, a political problem. It is about the future of the city. It's about the future of our people. It's about the future of the generations that are going to come and occupy Nairobi after us. So with those comments now, I'd like to kindly request His Excellency, the Deputy President, to come forward and give us the way forward and the next step, Your Excellency.
Asanteni sana, tafadhali tuketi. Mine once more is to thank all of you, especially our leaderships from the County Assembly, the National Assembly, for creating time to come and dialogue with our officers and the Commission. I know how busy you are. Most of you have bursary distribution. Others have many other things that you are doing, but you took time to come and have a discussion with us and the Commission because it's the right thing to do. Now that you know the mandate of the Commission, you have been taken through the plan. Please, when called upon to participate, please be available. And I think now the Commission knows what you need to do. In every stage of implementation, let's carry along our elected leaders. Elected leaders are very important, and President William Ruto and I know that. That is why in our part of the coalition, we have regular PG meetings to talk with our leaders, because they are the representatives of the people. And if you want to know what is going on, you talk to the leaders. If you don't talk to MCAs from mashinani, wewe utaka hapa Nairobi unazunguka na kiti, you think you know anything. Kumbe ulikwisha huko kitambo, watu wanakudanganya. So we must continue engaging our leaders, and please, let's take part in this program. It's a good program. Along the way, there will be employment opportunities for your people. You will be consulted so that we all work together. There is a saying in my community that buffaloes don't move in a herd because they like each other. No, they move together because of the danger of walking alone. That's why you go to Masai Mara, you see buffaloes moving in a big herd. Any one time one of them is left behind, inachukuliwa na simba, inakuwa nyama. Let's work together. And this thing has no political line. It's a good program. You have listened. It's about the people. It's about their future. It's about the environment. It's about pollution. It's about of greening our city. It's about of creating opportunities for our people. Let us work together, and the Commission and the CEO, they'll involve the leaders in every stage so that we all work together and see the successful implementation of this program. Number two, the MP Kamkunji has raised an issue in informal settlements, Wanyonyi. You know what you need to do? Yeah, you know what you need to do. Yeah, so that we have very clear instructions with our leaders in the security sector. They know what they must do. And I want you leaders to help us in oversighting them the way the MP Kamkunji has said. Now I know there's a problem. So you come to commission and mimi na tutajua why. We'll find out why. Pombe iko kwa slums. We'll find out. Nani OCS hapo, nani OSPD hapo. Na tumesema sisi hatupigi watu transfer. Tumetoka kwa hiyo era. If you don't work, PO box nyumbani. Because you don't want to transfer a problem from Nairobi to Kitui. Because this is the same country. If a fellow does not perform in Nairobi, what will make him perform in Kitui? So we'll do what we need to do. Now, leaders, I'll invite you for a conference to discuss drug and substance abuse. I'll invite all the members of parliament in Nairobi, all the MCAs, all the sub-county police commanders, all the officer commanding police stations, all the chiefs, all the assistant chiefs. Tukuja tukubaliane how we work together, you know, so that you leaders, we don't want you to get involved in that fight, because hii ni watu ya kutafuta kura na kura yenu itapotea. Hiyo watu ya kupika pombe wako na kura, wale wenye kuuza wako na kura, wale ya kuuza wako nayo, lakini mkikubalia wakunywe hamtakuwa na mtu ya kuwapigia nyinyi kura, watakuwa wamekufa yote. So what you help us only is oversight. Mnatuambia area fulani inaendelea mzuri, area fulani the OCS has been compromised, ni mtu ya kuchukua hongo, we take action. That's all we want from the leaders, and where we have started is working very well. You know, the leaders are really supporting the program, and I want the people of Nairobi, we work together. So we'll have that conference in the next 2 weeks. We'll notify you. I hope everybody will come. It's a problem, and a big one. Many people in Nairobi have died kwa pombe, but it is not even reported. Wakikufa kwa slums, pahali wanakunywa, wanaweka kwa mto ya Nairobi, wanateremka. That is what is happening. You know, and it's a serious problem. So I'll invite you leaders. Si mtakuja nikimwalika? Let us discuss. This is our country. This is our children. At the end of it all, we are parents. We see what is happening. Let us not pretend that we are special. Wewe ukitoka asubuhi ukienda kazi, you don't know where your child goes.
Na tumemwambia mpaka these police officers, hiyo drugs mnakubalia, mtoto yako ndio atauziwa. Because nobody is immune from this problem. So we'll have that conversation so that we all talk the same language ndio tuendelee. Honorable Yusuf has raised the issue of demolitions and evictions. Our administration made it very clear that where there is a court order, before it is implemented, that matter must be discussed in the respective security committee so that one, it is done in a humane manner. Number two, you decide where those people will go. You cannot come in the dead of the night, evict people, demolish their shelters, and leave them out there. Hiyo ni mambo hatukubaliani naye. So I still want to find out, County Commissioner, that matter that happened in Gekomba. Did our officers oversee it? If they did, tutakuwa na shida. Because tulikubaliana ya kwamba we shall not give security to anybody to demolish structures, shelters, houses, business premises, unless and until the matter has been discussed extensively in the respective security organ so that people are dignified, so that property is not destroyed and people are not left to be destitute, because our administration wants to dignify the people of Kenya. And I want to say, DG, let's be very careful. Let's be very careful. Let us not have a war with wananchi. Tusipigane na wananchi wale walituchagua. Let us be empathetic. Let us, if people must move, let there be an engagement and let people get adequate notice so that they can prepare for their next life ahead. You can't wake up one morning and terminate people's life. It is not right. So, ni sawa DG. So it's something that we need to have that discussion. And that is why we stopped provision of security for demolitions and evictions, so that it can create a mechanism for discussion and consultation, so that people are dignified, so that people are not unnecessarily harassed. You know? And in this city of Nairobi, you people who are elected, I was elected myself as an MP, I'm elected as deputy president. Mimi najua mambo kidogo tu ya raia. You harass people, bomolea hawa, tupa hao kwa lori kama gunia, chukua vitu yao uharibu. You have a date with those people in another 3 years. Pale kwa debe. Hapo inakuwaga audit kali sana. And wananchi, ukiona wamenyamaza, the way wamenyamaza, ujue, wanangoja. Let's dignify people. These are human beings. No matter what we want to do, people first, because leadership is about the people. Nobody lead potatoes or arrowroots ama mawe. Unaongoza wananchi. Ile hatua unachukua, ujue ni wananchi unafanya juu yao. And you must empathize with them and always put yourself in their shoes as you make decisions. Ni sawa, tunataka mji uwe safi, tunataka kila kitu ifanyike, lakini huu mji ni wananchi. Ni nani tunafanyia kazi? All those changes we want to do are for who? The people must be in the center of every conversation when we make decisions that have a negative impact on the people. That is my own understanding of the way leadership goes. Na wengine wetu tuchukue hatua hii, tutakuja kuona pale mbele vile itakaa. Lakini raia wanangoja tu. Najua they have a date with us every 5 years, wanangoja pale. Now that is the only time they have an opportunity to deal with many things. So let's be empathetic, let's be considerate, let us be reasonable, and let's consult for heaven's sake. Hawa wananchi walikuchagua. If you want to take an action that is injurious to them, have a conversation with them. Zungumzia hawa. Hawa si mawe, si chuma, ni watu, ni binadamu. Zungumza nao, mkubaliane, then you agree. The way we have called you here, there will be relocations. How do we do it humanly? Let the MCA aende pale na maafisa wetu, aitane mkutano. Watu wapewe nafasi, waelezwe, waulize maswali, wajibiwe. Waseme tupatiwe muda. We need 3 months to do this, that. Let's have that discussion. Because people are people, and people must be respected in all fronts. So mimi nataka kushukuru viongozi wote. I want to thank our senior officers in government, the ministers, the PSs, the head CEOs of state agencies who came. This Nairobi Rivers program must succeed. We'll give it our all. From my office here, we'll support where we need to support. And I'll continue creating a mechanism for engagement with the leaders so that we are better people all the time. Otherwise, mimi nataka niseme asanteni sana. Karibuni tena na tena. Tutamwalika nyinyi tukule na nyinyi lunch hapa. As you go back to work, mkifika msalimiane. Sisi tuko kazini, hatuna mambo mingi. Kama kuna watu walifikiria iko siasa inaitano hapa hakuna. Siasa iko mbali. Iko mbali sana. Uko mbele. Na ikifika hakuna mtu wako na mtoto kwa mgongo. Si ndio? Na yule yako naye si atapatia nyanyake amshikie. So let's work. Let's work for the people of Kenya. Let's work on our programs. Let's dignify our people. Let our people live in a better way. Let us make a difference so that you can say before you are elected, I found my ward this way. In 5 years, I have left it this way. Hii mtu ikisafishwa vile Michoki alifanya along. Even if that's your only legacy, it's a good legacy. It's a very good legacy. So tutasaidiana sana. So Rose, somebody to come and give direction and some prayers or something. So asanteni sana, may God bless you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your counsel for our city. We continue to pride in as the green city in the sun and a possibility